That's my history with women, okay? How can I describe how women are with me? It's like they want their bread buttered on both sides, eh? But bittersweet. They want to pretend like they are supportive of me, or maybe they might even be perhaps 4% supportive, while the remaining 96% is just like random rubbish dwelling in that ecosystem. They do more harm than good. If you're a woman that has experienced this, you will understand where I am coming from. You could be suffering like no man's business because, I don't know, your boyfriend is cheating, or your husband is a no-brainer that's not even giving you attention. Oh, fadi, cold shoulder. Against Adele. Yeah, and then you imagine yourself as one that is in safe arms to go and confide in your girl, and she starts out saying, "Girl, I'm sorry. Sister girl, I apologize." Yeah, no, your situation sucks, and she will give you a blanket to cover your frozen hypothermic body for like a day. The following day, she will then rock up and start to talk about how her husband loves her so much. The following day, she will start to talk about how much her children are just the best kids around. Basically rubbing insult into your open wounds, knowing that you're struggling in the very department that she is elevating her stupid statistics in your sight concerning. No sensitivity at all to the fact that literally too soon, I'm going through a lot. And they will then also start to gloat and float everything else in their lives to make you basically understand that they're above you now that you're suffering. No, they won't raise your sorrow as something to add insult into your open wound. So they're not going to be like, won't say you with the abusive husband, or you with the cheating husband, you with the sorrowful state. They won't raise that. They will continue to appear pampering of your sorrow, but also in the presence of literally flailing, parading their life in front of you that you might feel minuscule. I have had such friends literally way too long in the past, and while I could take them in my stride, because who in the world wants to roam these streets without friends? When I had no other issue in my life, like proper, I'm crying about my deadbeat boyfriend, you come and you tell me about the celebrations you're having with your excellent boyfriend. Yeah, but I've got a job, and I've got, a school, I've got all these other things to look forward to. I am learning how to, a new skill, I'm learning how to bake, so I guess there's so much to look forward to. So all that pain is just, a small little thing that I can take in my stride because, I'm desperate to have friends. But when my whole life has fallen apart, when literally I've got absolutely nothing, nowhere to look, nobody to give me comfort, no shoulder to cry on, and then you rock up, say, "Sorry, that sucks, but look at me and my lovely life." No, on that day, I'm gonna go grab like a hot pan on the stove and grab whatever contents they're in and throw them on your face and tell you never to come back again, because next time I will chop the head off altogether. Blackjacks, these unsympathetic and these unempathetic random females. Get yourself some Holy Spirit that you might be able to feel the pain of another. Put yourself in the position of the one that is suffering, okay? Yeah, by the Holy Spirit, you'll be enabled to conquer your envy. It is written in God's word that jealousy is rottenness in the bones, like proper. It just makes you a cadaver, something rotting, okay? So if at all you don't exercise self-control, a fruit of the Holy Spirit over jealousy, you are only going to function as insult in the injuries of a suffering Christian. If you don't want to put it at the door, leave. If you don't have enough spiritual maturity to deal with a suffering saint enough to sacrifice your own street freaking cred to comfort them, then don't even bother. Don't knock. If you know yourself, what did say? If you are like a flagrant gossip, you every so often capitulate to such urgings in you, then just leave a suffering woman alone. If you envy a woman and you don't have self-control, you are better off avoiding them than trying to act as if though you're supportive. It's that basic, because all you will be is insult and injury. You will compete with a person that is not competing with you because she is concentrating literally on so many other hard knock things that she doesn't have time to even notice that you're competing until you break her heart something bad. Yeah, you cause a woman to put her guard down, imagine she's got support, she has got friends, and then you act like the thing that goes bump in her particular night. You're the insult to the injury. You're like Freddy Krueger's sidekick, for crying out loud. Done am I with Nightmare on Elm Street on this night. I'm done. There's one nightmare in the secret society that I'm looking at through this glass window. It's one nightmare enough. I do not need nightmare upon a nightmare. I don't need to have you rocking up as like some conduit, secret, funny little freaky doll, because you're Chucky and the Chucky's bride scenario. I'm manifesting all up in my grill right next to Freddy Krueger. What we're going to do here is exorcise one particular ugly horror movie and just stay with one. Just stay with one. So the whole analogy with the blackjacks that I used when I first started speaking over here is particularly true in this circumstance, because when you go through some woods, you get out and there's blackjacks on your jersey. These blackjacks would adore to stay on your jersey, but if you're smart, if you're clean, if you're neat, if you like your jersey, you will just remove them. You will take a good 15 minutes just removing them one by one, and then they're on the floor. And the Lord has let me understand that most, if not all, the women that are going to come and try and contact me in this season are like blackjacks on your jersey. Baby girl, once you get out of these woods, you better take them off, because if you don't take them off, they're going to hang out making like an accessory on a jersey when it's not supposed to be there. They are not mature. They have not strengthened themselves in me. They are irresponsible with your heart right now, and you're dealing with such massive issues. Huge. You're dealing with such gargantuan issues at present that you cannot for the life of you take on another emotional burden. You have done very well, my daughter. All of these years in isolation and solitude, you have known how to keep yourself abreast of affairs. You have kept your heart temperate. You have known how to conquer sorrow in your heart when it is raining havoc therein. You have done a really good job to survive the darkness. You don't need somebody rocking up and just putting a prick on a heart that is already swollen with offense. So until such time that you have gotten out of this tunnel on the other side, there, very far away, until such time that you've gotten out of it, pierced through, conquered whatever darkness it is that you need to conquer, having done all the tests that I have set you apart to walk in, do not engage with women. Literally all of them, keep them at an arm's length. What is this? What do they call this thing? In 2 Timothy 2, right? Or is it 1 Timothy 2? 2 Timothy 2. I believe it's 2 Timothy 2. The Lord speaks about a workman approved by God, and speaks about how you as a soldier need to avoid civilian affairs. These women in their immaturity, their lackluster Christianity, are like civilians in the presence of a soldier. You be out in these streets in your camouflage gear, trying to shoot at an enemy camp, a bullseye that you might neutralize your enemy so that you can come out victorious, and also so that your enemy might surrender, since you are overwhelming them with a hail of bullets. And then some random is like, want to go shopping? Do you want to go to the mall? Do you want to, hey girl? No, I'm sorry, you're a civilian, leave. This is a battlefield. So in the absence of you rocking up with like military gear too, camouflage, if you don't crawl on the floor amphibiously too, as I am crawling on the floor to get to that target, you have no business being here. You're a distraction, and you're gonna make me lose a war that I frankly cannot afford to lose because my life depends on it. I'm already winning, and you're gonna rock up with your fluffy female thing that you're doing. Women, God has such a massive bone to pick with you, because as a result of your lack of support and your lack of involvement on the battlefield for Jesus, fighting for your own souls, your own lives, your own marriages, your own futures, they don't even make sense. You are properly being thrown under the bus by secret societies of men that gather together in their numbers just to humiliate you. It's what they do. And yet you can't concert with each other in prayer because you're looking at each other's wigs. Are you serious? You're busy looking at each other's makeup. Are you for real? You're busy looking at my septum piercing, my smiley piercing, my lip piercing. You are looking at my unaged state. You're looking at my slender frame despite being sedentary. You are listening to the way that I speak and you're jealous. You cannot even realize this is a war. Never mind against Karabo, but against women in total. The whole country is suffering from gender-based violence. Godwa, you be out here in these streets looking at my face beat for real? For real? Pumpele. I'm a civilian. Go shopping. I'm at war. I am a soldier. I am at war, and you're a civilian. God has been warning me for a couple of days now about this particular strategy by the devil. In the scriptures, is it Paul? Is it Ephesians? I stand corrected. One of the epistles of Paul. He warns women who are young and unmarried to basically just do everything in their power to get married, lest they should become busybodies and gossips. It's what women just generally do. They can't help themselves. So unless you are going about your father's business as a woman, you are going to be, you're going to tend quite naturally towards just being a busybody and a gossip. You will want to run with every wave of reviling that is being thrown in the ecosystem against a person, because I know that's how I used to be prior to me becoming a child of the living God. And even after getting into Christianity, even after getting saved, I had to conquer it. I had to fight. I had to intentionally fight what jealousy does in the heart of a woman. Whenever I was envious of a woman, even though I never went out of my way to hurt them, that's something that has happened in a way that's very scary to me. The way that women are so just savage now. I never used to be savage against the people that I envied. Neither was I ever mean. However, dare you speak something nasty about the girl that I envy, the one that I covet, the one that I think is pretty, the one that I think is smart, the one that I think, etc. Yeah, no. Just the the smallest little rumor spread about this girl, it could be ludicrous and obviously untrue, I will run with it, guys. I will use it like a rubber ducky in my water, and I will make it float around. I will praise my jealousy with the reviling against this woman, even when it is obviously damnably untrue. So that's just the nature of jealousy. So when a woman is suffering a great deal of reviling, like the whole world has just spoken smack about you, false witness from here to Timbuktu, and then some jealous freak rocks up in your grill and hears all these rumors being spoken about you, if at all what I am is anything to go home with, to write home about concerning the general female constitution, the rumors around my life are going to make all of these women blame thirsty. They are going to be like, why is she so isolated? Why has she been abandoned like this? Something must be true of why she's in this position. She's arrogant. Something's up. You will properly dig into the ground, making like, what is that animal that buries its head in the ground? Is it an ostrich? Yeah, making like an ostrich, any random lie, and you're gonna run with it. You're gonna run with it. So given the haughty, the bountiful amount of vitriol that I've already been smacked with over these years, the reviling, the lies that have been spoken against me, I can't be with some civilian females all up in my camp while I am in dire need of actual soldiers. By all means, bottom line is what the Lord is showing me is that I'm dealing with civilian females that the devil wants to throw in my life. Women that are fluffy, they're not warriors in the kingdom of heaven, even if they are Christian. And they just want to rock up, come into my space, lodge, envy what I am, and then run with every ounce of vitriol that has been spewed against my name. I'm sorry, no go. While I have no doubt that whatever under heaven is plaguing me is plaguing other women in my country, I also do understand that albeit it plaguing all of us as women, not enough of us are engaged in a meaningful battle to actually conquer it. And so for those reasons, Agnes Katisabo Tigin, not at this point. I used to be sweet, but I told you I've been made a little bit sour. I can't. The nostalgia, the PTSD, the triggers of just these horrible friends. All that I will be left thinking is, I don't want another Palesa. I don't want another Renelwe. I don't want another Kifilwe. Basically, pseudo names that I'm creating for my former friends. I am not dealing with another rando of that nature. A woman that's going to be all up in my grill, acting like my friend, hugging me, buying me presents on my birthdays. Mara, she runs with gossip whenever it's being spoken against me. She runs with this, she runs with that. I'm sorry, you're a civilian. You are in no position at all to be a soldier. You have not trained yourself. You've not made yourself a workman approved by God. You are not a vessel of honorable use. You are currently fluffy, flaccid. You break easily. And so for those reasons, I cannot deal. No hard feelings, but stay away. Go to the mall, shop proper. Do what you need to do. Have babies. Get married since you are liberally able to do so, while I appear stranded and stuck in a curse under a deadbeat ex-boyfriend. But do not sit in my grill and then flail your random life all up in my face like I'm not already in pain after losing literally everything I have ever worked for. Everything I've ever longed for, every desire I've ever prayed up to heaven appears to be unanswered. I am in a battlefield, and the devil is trying to distract me with the typicalities of women being busybodies and gossips, running with envy, running with jealousy, unprepared for the life of them to do a better thing out here in these streets. I'm not doing it. While I am aware that not every woman is fluffy like this, there's quite a lot of soldiers, a lot of Rebeccas that are found going about their father's businesses. There are also similarly quite a large amount of Peninas out here in these streets, proper trying to make Hannah feel sad because she can't have no baby. And I'm not trying to deal with any of that. And I know how to spot a Penina from a mile away. Sometimes it stealthily worms its way into your life as a friend. There is a difference between, is it Martha and Mary, right? The one is busy going about like the work of Jesus, and the other one is like, focus on this, focus on that. The one that's looking at the world and everything else around, look, fine, the Lord must still have your back, but you're not serious. You're not a trained soldier. You did not go to boot camp. You didn't do any of that stuff. And you have no business literally just bandwagoning the war. And the escalating one at that, of somebody without in and of yourselves putting on some kind of military gear, camouflage. Hi, by now, military. Get out! And you're gonna make me feel worse than I already do. I don't have capacity to be feeling worse than what my ex is making me feel. So whatever random rubbish she's sending me, that's all I'll take. That is all I'll take. Listen to this. So the Lord, the past like 2 to 3 days, he said to me, VC, all right? I'll just say VC. VC are the initials, right, of this one horrendous woman that decided to bewitch the living daylights out of my fitness content until I stopped uploading there because my content went nowhere. I tried to start another Facebook page for fitness, nothing. Mosadi ki mo uloile fitness yaka. I met her in my fitness plane. She was a fitness content creator, influencer. I liked her content, commented quite a bit. She was quite big in comparison to me. I was just starting out. And she appeared to be blessed by all of my comments and started to comment back. Next thing, I realized that she's actually followed my content as well. I'm like, oh my goodness, look, I got a follow from someone that I'm following. This is lovely. Next thing, this chick is commenting on my content too, liking it. And I'm like, oh, okay, wow. Quite the fitness influencer is following my content and I'm so fluffy. I'm just starting out. I am frankly nowhere near where she's at. So it's really great that I've got this woman in my corner. She did not know that I'm a Christian, did not have access to my side, the side of my Facebook that does Christian content. I was just doing fitness on this particular plane. Next thing, I get this horrific dream of me being in bed making out in a very sexually, like, just poignant capacity with this woman, telling myself that God will understand that I have feelings for this woman. And she was busy saying in her mind, in my dream, to a point where I could hear it audibly, even though she was thinking in her mind. She was thinking she is South African, and there they allow same-sex marriages. I woke up from that dream in a sweat, essentially. On some, I have no interest at all in women. None at all. And yet the feelings I had for this random female in my dream were like lofty. On top of that, she kept on, like I said, saying that South Africa allows same-sex marriage. I ignored that dream for like a month before I started to notice on my fitness page that I got stuck. After noticing that my fitness is going nowhere, it's no longer growing, it was growing quite phenomenally, and then it just suddenly stopped, right? After realizing that, I then, about a week later from that recognition, got another dream where this woman was hiding something of mine underneath her bed, and she kept on checking on it to see how it's doing. When I woke up, God was like, I showed you. This woman is a witch, and those horrible dreams that you got are me showing you her sorcery. You have to block her. You have to cut off. You have to unfriend her, and you have to make sure she can't find your Christian ministry. I was so upset at what this woman did because she was a complete stranger. I didn't know her. I not only did what God said I must do, like basically block her. What is this? Like, guys, I blocked her in my Christian content. I blocked her anywhere I could on Facebook. I started another fitness page, and before I could upload anything on there, I blocked. I blocked and I blocked and I blocked. But I was so upset, I was so hurt because I was actually trying to make money using fitness, since there is so much targetedness of Christians for our Christian content. So I figured that I was going to monetize my fitness. And who comes against fitness and nutrition? Who comes against fitness and nutrition? I figured that I've got a Christian way of doing it. I'm fully clothed. I'm training people how to get fit. I'm training people how to eat right and all that jazz. This is my way where I can guarantee that I will stay monetized on social media because who is trying to bring down health content? Nowhere, no one. And this woman literally put my work in a frozen position. I was so angry that I wrote about her in my blog, and I mentioned her name. Her initials are VC. I mentioned her actual name so that anybody at all that cares to watch my content, since I am so blocked everywhere, will know that this chick is a witch and she steals people's content. How she grows her own page, since it is so lackluster, is by making sure that she literally searches out fitness content creators, and the smaller they are, the better. And before they can blow up, she blocks them so her own page can blow up. I was so mad at God on some, but I'm yours. I am your disciple. I am your child. I should not be getting ransacked by some stupid little side piece witch that does not know that she's dealing with a prolific Christian going through a lot. Why didn't you just prevent it? And God was like, because I wanted you to understand what accommodating certain women that stealthily worm themselves into your life might mean for you in the future. You are already going through a lot of spiritual war, Garabo. You don't want to bring a person so close into your ecosystem that they start to envy you. How can I use another example? Let's take a celebrity, for instance. Let's take a very well-known one, Beyonce. Okay? Beyonce is there far away. So all of her fans look at her as something far and elevated, too big for them to ever aspire to be like her. So she rarely ever gets any jealousy from fans. But if Beyonce were to bring into her ecosystem some fan, and now she's all of a sudden Beyonce's friend, This woman is then going to start feeling entitled to competing with Beyonce, and so jealousy will spur up. You find it a lot in the entertainment industry, where dancers start to envy the celebrity in question, where guitarists start to envy the celebrity in question, because now they're so close, they feel like they can compete. The farther they are, the farther people are from you, the less likely that they will fall into jealousy against you, because they will recognize you as something out of reach and frankly admirable. So they will admire you. They will elevate you as indeed a role model. But the moment they come into your ecosystem, that's when competition starts to rear its ugly head. They start to feasibly imagine themselves as ones that can take you over. Even though you're the one that gave them an opportunity. You're the one that lifted them up. You're the one that raised them to a certain level. Now that they are in your inner circle, they will become some of the biggest darts coming at you. So the Lord was warning me that when it comes to women, keep them at an arm's length. Keep them at an arm's length unless I vet one. Unless I personally say, Lom tate, this one, invite them, embrace them. Otherwise, every single time somebody emails you, a woman, if they email you, if they write you, if they do whatever, I will tell you by the Holy Spirit, jealous. I will tell you by the Holy Spirit, spiteful. I will tell you for you to respond to them with thank you and leave it at that. But do not ever open dialogue, because the moment you bring them into your ecosystem, that's when they will start to think, as Beyonce's fan, in keeping with the analogy, that they are now on the same level with Beyonce, enough to compete with her to a point of actual active sabotage. So that random female on Facebook that you looked up to, and her content was like a more advanced than yours. She essentially had built for herself a grander following than you, and you liked her content from a distance, and she's the one that decided to basically start stalking you. You like her content, you comment a couple of times, and then she follows you. She literally followed you, found your page, started to follow you. You felt honored. Instead of her recognizing that she's made a fan out of a friend, or a friend out of a fan now. She then started to compete with my, style of exercise. I used to dance to work out, whereas she did these road mundane, like do a squat, do a lunge and whatnot. I used to dance to try and incorporate all of these things. Yeah, my style of exercise, she started to covet it, envy it. And so now she thought we were the same thing because we became friends. And now she started to compete with me, and she then invested in sorcery, and she wanted to surveil it. And so that's why God told me, block her, because I don't want to see anything that you're doing, because then every new thing that you do, she will then put a spell on it, because now she's become obsessed with you, to a point she was a lesbian, of trying to marry you, because she's from Zimbabwe or Swaziland or whatever, where same-sex marriage is illegal, but it's legal in South Africa. So she even saw you as a marriage prospect. She doesn't know that you're Christian. But bottom line is, that's the kind of rubbish that the devil is sending in your direction. He is literally causing anyone at all involved in darkness to look at you, so that you will feel stranded every single time you try a new thing. Because of how much during that time, I was so upset, I was so sad. And I was basically telling God, I mean, you're God. You can do whatever you want. You've got power to stop anything, to prevent anything from working. Why did you allow this witch to finish a thing on my on my fitness channel, on my fitness content, my fitness page on Facebook? And that's when the Lord then told me, as I mentioned earlier, that I have allowed this karabo so that you can see just what is the probability of attack from women that's going to come your way. Just because they share the same anatomy as you does not make them less violent. Yes, the biggest war you are fighting right now is men, because they have literally come together, conglomerated against women as boyfriends and husbands. More than likely boyfriends. They have literally bewitched in a secret society South African women. It's really bad. The black community is in disarray because of these occult organizations by men, where they imagine they're going to handle girlfriends that way. Yeah, so there is a war that needs to be fought, frankly. And women, more of them, have been calling to come out to pray about this, and there's just not enough of them. So since you are fighting this battle for yourself and for whoever else that you will fight to spread the message, I need you to keep a sober mind, level above your head must be above water. And you are going to struggle, given that spiritual weapons, any kind of spiritual weapon, like witchcraft, whether or not it works on a person, it does not eradicate the effects on you. You will feel the fatigue, you will feel the exhaustion, you will get the nightmares, especially if you've got a spiritual gifting. Whatever it is that it intends to do, it'll let itself known. It'll make itself known. It'll knock on your door. And when it knocks, it will knock out your body. Physically, you will feel a particular way. So if you want to have 5, 6, 7, 20 little stupid women just sending spells in your general direction because of jealousy, due to the fact that you literally made like Beyonce and accommodated befriending a fan, what that is going to do is cause you to have way more spiritual war than you need. So yes, you are right, my daughter, that her witchcraft, I could have just chosen not to let it work. I could have just scooted her off. But that would not have done away with the spiritual climate of attack that is over you. You would have felt heavied. And on top of that, you would have accommodated and continued to stay friends with surveilling like spiritual harlots that are just watching you, sniffing out at everything, flipping over tables, knocking over items on those tables in your ecosystem. Even though they lack success, their arrogance and their envy would then cause them to perpetually just spit on you with hydrochloric acid saliva called sorcery. You would have had friends in your life just like the ones that I saved you from. You would have had friends in your life just like the ones that I saved you from, Karab. Only think about your former best friend. Only think about your university pals. Only think about your high school friends. Only think about the ones that you had in corporate South Africa. Just think about what these women did to you. They bewitched the living daylights out of your life and your future, your prospects, your husband, your womb, your anything at all. Yeah. However, afterwards, the very next day, after casting spells on you, the very next Monday, after seeing a sangoma concerning you, on the weekend, they then were like, girl, want to grab cappuccino, want to grab coffee. They then all of a sudden were a lot more interested in your life than they used to be before. Back when you used to tell them all of your stories, they would kind of roll their eyes and you could tell, you could pick up a hostility in them. They were jealous. Now they are keen to listen. Because this time around, you're talking about how much everything of yours is falling apart. Back in the day when you were still employed, experiencing all of these sabotages of your life by friends, Karab, you didn't know that that's what I was showing you in your spiritual gifting. Back then, you lacked understanding. You were yet to be trained spiritually as to what you were seeing. So you were hovering around, walking up and down these streets with women that had put knives, like garden scissors, like chainsaws through your back. Do you understand? And yet they were still your friends. You were inviting them to dinners. You were going to have lunches with them at malls and whatnot. You had in your life some pretty satanic women that were surveilling your life after bewitching the living daylights out of it, and it angered me. It spurned up so much wrath in my heart, and out of my jealousy for you, I ripped you out of corporate South Africa. I ripped you out of gainful employment. I ripped you out of all of these environments because you were dedicating them to prayer, having their back, consecrating them to me. On top of that, you were listening to them. You were supportive. You were full of counseling. You were ride or die. You used to bend over backwards for them. You were there like a bear the moment they needed help. You were a shoulder to cry on. You were so supportive. And then they turned around and did witchcraft on you and then pretended that that's not what's going on. I saw this. I got mad. I got angry as God, and I took you out from the way that they might finish themselves off in insanity. One friend of mine went through such a horrible divorce with such a horrible abusive husband. I was there like no matter every day. I would call her and would stay on the phone for an hour, sometimes even neglecting my own duties at work just to be there for her. And then she bewitched my whole freaking marriage prospects. I did not raise it with her what I wanted in a husband. I never added insult into her injuries. I was there for her. Do you understand? There. And she put a knife, like garden scissors, in my back. Those are the kinds of women that many women are walking around with.